Hello, my name is Condo-Olvera and welcome to my channel. Today we're doing the third segment of Quarantinterviews and I have a very special guest, Chloe Brown. So Chloe and I met at the Performing Arts Project, a performing arts intensive that I very strongly recommend, and then she went on to study musical theater at Carnegie Mellon University. So for those of you who don't know, Carnegie Mellon is one of the best places in the US and the world for studying musical theater, or MT as Chloe will reference it in the interview. So it was really exciting to see her get in and then choose to go there. So I'm really excited to reconnect with her. I think this really just goes to show the power of technology, and I feel so proud to be a #Dell brand advocate. And we talked for a while, so I'm actually going to divide this third episode into 2 parts. So be sure to subscribe so you can listen to the second part once it comes out. Dell has been really supportive of people just being creative and creating content online. And doing that through Dell technology. I would highly recommend you guys check Dell XPS out. And without further ado, enjoy the interview. But thank you so much for being here. It's so lovely to see your face. What was your audition like for CMU especially?
It was really good. It was really fun. It was fun. And I think that's what really made me want to go to the school. Any audition that I went to when I left and I was like, that was work, that was an audition, I'm like, yeah, okay, that's not a school I want to go to. My audition for CMU was really fun. It was long. I don't know if anyone knows or remembers how they do the auditions. I don't know why they do it like this, where they have you go into one room and then they have you sing, and then you know, if you're an MT, if you're auditioning MT, you could be there all day long because you may have acted, but you still got to go into the singing room. You may have sung, you still have to go, whatever. But so I was there I think the audition day started at noon, and it was 5 or 6. It was 7 when I officially was done. You walk in and you do your thing and you vibe really well with them, or you don't, but it was a really fun vibe. They did the working, they might workshop a little bit of your pieces or whatever, see what else you have got going on. And so it was just really fun. I think one thing I'll say is being really prepared for them to kind of throw whatever at you or ask you to do whatever is the biggest way to kind of find freedom in an audition space, because you don't want to be worried about okay, what if they ask me to do this and I don't know this one, and so I tried to be as prepared as possible.
So how soon after your audition did you hear back from the school?
It was a month. It was a minute of kind of just twiddling my thumbs. But I tried to forget about. I don't think anyone really successfully forgets. And I think everyone's kind of just okay, we'll see what happens. But I'm still checking my email every 10 minutes. But no, I think I found out right before. I remember I did find out right before spring break. In my senior year, and I had auditioned back in February, beginning of February. So it had been around a month of chilling, waiting. But yeah.
And once you got in, did you know for sure I'm going to Carnegie Mellon?
When I first got in, I was oh yeah, this is where I'm going. And then other decisions started coming out and started touring other places, and I was I don't know anymore. So yeah, but I think that was definitely a fortunate position to be in, to be even on the fence. So I'm happy that that was the struggle I was having, but it was a bit of a struggle. It definitely was.
So how has your first year been? I know it was cut short with COVID, but what was everything like?
It was actually, I had a pretty good freshman year. I think COVID kind of, that was where things got hard, as far as academically, because I wasn't really equipped. I'm not that kind of learner. Like, I'm not the kind of person who can do that. And then I was like on my phone or on my computer all day long. And then, but on top of that, my friends weren't with me. So like the only way I could talk to them is if I was like on the phone. It's been nice to have a break. And I feel a lot better going into the school year, even though I know we will be doing a lot of Zoom still. I feel better.
Were you like daunted by the fact it's like Carnegie Melon and it's like a huge name? And, you know.
I mean, I feel like everyone goes through that imposter syndrome feeling, like, what am I doing here? Like, this is not, I don't know how I ended up here, but this is not, something must have went wrong somehow, because I didn't know what I was doing. It over time, it wore off pretty quickly, which I'm really happy about, because I think that's a lot of pressure to put on yourself to like try to live up to something that's like so like intangible, because it's like, what does that mean to like be a Carnegie student or be like whatever?
And the conservatory style, so it's still within a bigger university. Like, do you have to take a lot of gen eds, or is it like just?
No, it's very, very like, we take like a couple of like gen eds, but they're, they're the classes that everybody at Carnegie has to take. And I'm sure, I don't know if you can relate to this, but it's really easy to like kind of find yourself in your own bubble of like the drama school, and like you feel like you go to a completely different school than like everyone else. Yeah. And sometimes it's hard to remember that like, oh, there are people here that like are programming computers and like learning how to like cure diseases. And it really puts things into perspective, and it makes you feel like, okay, like I don't really need to be that stressed out. Like,
within the School of Drama, is there like a lot of overlap between like the acting and the musical theater students?
Yes, it is pretty much impossible to tell the difference. It was actually one of the reasons why I wanted to come here so much.
What was your favorite class?
Voice class was my favorite class for sure. I think it really was, in my opinion, it was a class that did the best job at like bridging the gap between like acting and like also your own personal voice instrument and like your own personal journey as far as like an artist and your development and everything. It was really fun. It was very silly sometimes, and it like really forced me to get out of my head, which is something that I will say freshman year is really hard to do. Like, it's really hard to like get out of your head and like not think about what you look like and what you're doing, because you're like, my parents are paying so much money for me to like roll around on the floor. Like, so sometimes it's hard to like really think about like, okay, like get in touch with like the present moment and everything. And I think that's the class that like helped me accomplish that the most. I think I had gotten so used to just like being safe and being comfortable and being like the more palatable, I think, version of what like Black women are expected to be in theater. And it was a lot of first semester specifically, and also just like acting class in general, was like having to let go of that and be okay with like looking ugly sometimes, feeling naked, no one kind of like understanding, and still being fine, which I think that's a journey that we're gonna be on for the rest of our lives.
How open was like the community in terms of like allowing you to do that? Like,
I feel like from the students, like extremely open. I never really felt judged. I never felt like anyone was looking at me sideways. I feel like, we always think people, and I think this is really funny because it's like, as an actor or being in an acting school, it's really weird because you're like, I'm so worried about what other people are thinking of me, but they're also worried about what other people are thinking of them. So like everyone's just thinking about themselves, really, like, and you get so much more comfortable, like, not caring like what people think, because you realize like they're not really thinking about you at all. I don't think the outside sources were the roadblocks for me as much as like I had to like get out of my own way with that.
And how do shows work? Do you do any shows your first year, or
not in the like normal, like not like you're not on a main stage like in a costume, like no, but we do I would say perform a lot. Like, you do cabarets, we have voice labs, we have a lot of like opportunities, I think, to like be out there, perform. Like Playground again is one of those like really big opportunities. And we don't do shows like on the main stage until our junior year.
Cool. And is it like prescriptive casting, or do you have to audition?
You audition for all of your shows.
So like, what's your like ideal post-graduation scenario? Like, what do you dream of?
You know, finding that like you don't have to kind of just wait for an opportunity to come. Like, you can also be a creative. Yeah, I've kind of been interested in the past couple of months of like, okay, like, do I want to like write also? Do I want to like direct also? Like, what are other passions like within like theater and also within just like art in general that like excite me and intrigue me? Because it's like, I don't want to feel, if I'm only fulfilled by performing and I'm in a time of my life where that's not possible, like, I need to find other ways to feel fulfilled. So in the future, I would love to like perform, but I also really do see myself kind of finding some creativity and like taking a little bit more charge as far as like what I want to do, the projects I want to work on, things that are interesting to me. So I know that sounds very vague, but it's also just like trying to be present in my life and not worry about that. But like, you know, I definitely do think about it. I definitely do, you know, get excited at the thought of like, oh, like writing would be cool, like directing would be really cool, like creating like a little show with my friends would be like super fun. So like, yeah, just like finding other ways to like feel creative and feel, you know, artsy and stuff like that.
I love that, and I feel that. I think the whole artist world feels that right now.
Yeah.
What kind of things have you been working on?
So I've been getting a lot more. I started writing a little bit in high school, like theatrically. I wasn't really interested in it, to be honest. I kind of just did it because like it was a thing we were doing at school. So I was like, okay, well, fine, like I'll do it. And then over time, especially since school, I found that like I really like it. And I'm also really finding one thing about, you know, being a Black artist and trying to like educate yourself on like the art that like is communal to you and the art that like, you know, people in my community have like been a part of and kept alive. It's very like poetic, and like you read like plays from playwrights like Jose Rivera or like Terrell Evan McCraney, and it's literally poetry and it's beautiful and it's very different from like the kind of plays I read in school sometimes. So that's really been inspiring. And so recently I've kind of been trying to like work on developing my own like version of like what that looks like. So kind of just been writing a lot of, I feel, you know, as hard as it's been to be seeing a lot of the like atrocities in the world right now, it's also been I've been very motivated to kind of like document it, but in a way that is a little bit less depressing than just like, oh my God, the world's falling apart. So yeah, like poetry a little bit, but I've also been working on like a video project with some people from not just my school, like people from a lot of other schools too. Just like kind of creating a video project kind of in response to like what we've been dealing with for the past few months. So yeah, stuff like that.
That's really exciting. And it's awesome that you're like using technology to your advantage too. That's awesome.
Trying. It's definitely new.
I think it's like, from my perspective, it has been hard to be motivated at times, but it's definitely a great way when you find that to just like deal with everything going on. So it's awesome to hear that you're doing that, and I'm excited to see like what you post. Just keep admiring you from afar. Thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you so much it's been so nice chatting with you. I miss you so much, Isa.
Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the interview. If you did, be sure to like and subscribe. And thank you, Jel, for supporting me in creating this content.